The national championship just 3 days away in the ATL. Ohio State nearly a 10-point favorite, looking for its first national title in 10 years. Meanwhile, Notre Dame looking for its first in 36. Whoever wins, either time it's going to be a first national championship title for either head coach. Ryan Day, he's 2-0 straight up against Marcus Freeman as head coaches. And remember, Marcus Freeman played linebacker at Ohio State from 04 to 08, so a little bit of a full circle moment. So let's dive into it with Chip Patterson. And Chip, something interesting, Ohio State, they did not play for a Big Ten championship. Notre Dame, they're independent. And still, one of these programs is going to be crowned a national champ. And then we saw a lot of those conference champs that had byes, did not have success in the expanded CFP. So with the expanded format, how much of the value of conference championships has that diminished, in your opinion, in this new format that we're dealing with now?
Oh, yeah. I think without a doubt, we don't need those extra data points when we are inviting so many different teams to the dance. When you were trying to narrow to 4, and certainly when you were just trying to get those top 2 teams from the BCS era, that you did need to see that last 13th moment, that last game, to be able to sort out and split hairs among the title contenders. But the fact that not only, as you mentioned, all 5 of our conference champions were one and done, but even we saw those runner-up in those games lose in the semifinals. You have to almost wonder if playing in the conference championship disadvantaged those teams that played in the conference championship weekend. And so now you're starting to get into a dangerous, slippery slope in terms of whether teams are motivated. We heard Lane Kiffin start to bring this up when he thought Ole Miss might still be in the mix for the college football playoff, that not playing in the SEC championship game would help the Rebels. So I don't think that we need it in order to split hairs when we've got so many teams coming in. But Jacqueline, it is important to note that this is historic, because no matter who wins on Monday night, it will be just the 4th time in the BCS college football playoff era that the national champion did not win their conference. That's Alabama 2011, Alabama 2017, and Georgia in 21. All of the rest of the national champions since 1998 were conference champions. And so you just have to wonder whether the conferences, the coaches, and the schools are still going to be motivated, because there's a great financial incentive to do a conference championship game, but there's also financial incentives to continue to expand the college football playoff. Look for that to be a big talking point as the commissioners wrestle with the calendar, the bracket, the format, and more in the coming months.
Yeah, and of course, the expanded CFP diminishing those conference championships. There's an article right now on CBSSports.com to check out. And another name that has been at the top of the CBS Sports search is Bill Belichick over the last couple of days. He's always making headlines, especially now because, there was all this stir, like, is his contract is not officially signed, and then the Dallas job becomes open and everyone's playing matchmaker there. But Michael Lombardi, he's kind of squashing all those rumors, saying the NFL isn't an option. So what do you make of all of that with Bill Belichick? And we know he probably wants to go back to the NFL eventually because he wants that all-time wins record.
Yeah, the thing that's been really surprising for me has been that Bill Belichick is out on the road recruiting. Deion Sanders didn't do in-home visits. It was kind of a bring everybody to Coach Prime. Bill Belichick, as recently as yesterday, was up in the D.C. area. He and his son have been going out on recruiting trips all across the state of North Carolina. But the thing that has been most important to track has been the assembly of his coaching staff. Because when we were starting to consider about Bill Belichick heading to the NFL, the absence of a full coaching staff was something that a lot of people pointed to. And Jacqueline, what stands out to me is that he is bringing in a lot of coaches without a lot of college experience, which can be troubling, but it also is the fulfillment of what he said when he first got the job. He said he wants to build a pro program at the college level, that he wants to teach like they are pros. He wants to have them coached as though they are going to be pros. And so when you bring in all these coaches that don't necessarily have that college experience, he is following through on that promise. Now, my question, will it work? Will 18 to 22-year-olds in Chapel Hill be willing to take the coaching from individuals that are used to dealing with professionals? Are they going to accept that? Are they going to excel in that position? And is this roster that he is still working on putting together, is it set to be able to succeed in those kinds of circumstances? I understand the pitch like on a slideshow, Jacqueline, but now that it's being put into practice, a lot of question marks for the Tar Heels in terms of what they can do on the field. field in 2025.
Hey, if you're going to be making pro-like money, maybe you just have to take the coaching that comes along with it. I don't know. Deion Sanders, that's also a big name that's always making headlines. And we've seen the prime effect, right, Chip? We saw him, flip Travis Hunter from FSU to Jackson State. And then, of course, this turnaround with Colorado, getting them ranked, getting them in the CFP conversation at a portion of the regular season, gets them a bowl game there in his first couple of seasons. But if he leaves, because there have also been rumors about, him and his time with the Cowboys and going back and working under Jerry. If he does leave ultimately, whether it's for the Cowboys or not, does Colorado, you think they build on what he's done for them, or do you think we would see a regression there?
I think we would see a regression. I think that Deion Sanders was a part of the equation, not all of it, but a part of the equation that allowed Colorado to be one of the first ones out the door in the Pac-12. You'll remember they got that invitation to the Big 12 in July in that big shakeup summer that finished with most of the Pac-12, with the exception of Oregon State and Washington State, finding new pastures elsewhere. And so he has already essentially secured a lifeboat. He has already gotten the Buffs into a spot in the Big 12 where they will be a part of the future of major college football. But in terms of the roster, in terms of the coaching staff, I do think there would be a step back if Deion Sanders were to leave. There is already some concerning signs. The reporting around what the NIL situation is looking like moving forward, and what the NIL situation might be if Deion Sanders does leave. I know that their collective is about to get folded into the university. The athletic director there working through what everyone is trying to figure out what the future is with the house settlement, paying players, what your payroll is going to look like. But ultimately, we were already losing Shedeur Sanders. We were already losing Travis Hunter. Now to lose Deion Sanders as well, I definitely think that this would be a Buffs team that would take a step back in his absence.
Yeah, and this was a team that dove into the transfer portal, but also had a whole lot of guys, to your point, that entered it on the flip side. Chip Patterson, we certainly appreciate it, discussing the latest news around college football here with us on CBS Sports HQ. And the conversation continues with Chip, Danny Cannell, Bud Elliott, Tom Fornelli over on the Cover 3 podcast. Download, follow, and listen wherever you get your pods, or you can watch right now by scanning that QR code.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap,
we're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.